have your respect throughout the day. We have over 20 groups visiting the Capitol here today. To ensure that each group is properly and respectfully recognized, the resolutions today will be read in caption only. So we'll do the resolutions by caption only, and each member will give their recognizing remarks in introducing their guests that may be on the dais or in the gallery. And we thank each of you for your cooperation. And please remember that as we're recognizing these 20 different groups that took the time and effort to come to Austin, I know some have been up since 3 a.m. to get here, that we take our conversations outside the rail and give each group the respect and attention that they deserve here today in the Texas House. Thank you. And be careful for the first one.
Representative Israel moves to dispense with the reading and referral of bills until the end of today's business. Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Speaker Bonin for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, it's really nice to be here. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend all necessary rules and take up and consider House Resolution 364.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Excuse me, sir. Chair lays out House Resolution 364. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 364 by Bonin of Brazoria, recognizing February 19, 2019 as Matagorda County Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I hope you caught today is Matagorda County Day. We do have 20 different groups at the Capitol today. Not to diminish the other 19, this is the most important group that is at the Capitol today. Exactly. And if I didn't say that, we would have had a rowdy, angry crowd on our hands, and we don't want that. But I would invite all of you to show up at 6 o'clock this evening in the back hall. We will have Matagorda County Day, and every member and all of your staff are all invited to come by and welcome my constituents from Matagorda County. It is one of the most historic and prideful counties in Texas. Since the 20th century, Matagorda County farmers have been farming rice and agricultural products in our great county. There's been great discovery of oil and sulfur to further diversify our great county's economy in Matagorda. Ranching, farming, and petrochemical remain important today. The county also benefits from the presence of the South Texas Nuclear Project that generates enough electricity to power approximately 2 million homes in Texas. Think about that. All out of Matagorda. Matagorda County seat is Bay City, which recently became the home of Tenaris Bay City, an international pipe manufacturing company that we're very proud to have Tenaris in Matagorda County. They've energized our local economy. Port of Palacios is home to the largest fishing fleet on the Texas Gulf Coast. The county has been named the North American Audubon Society Christmas Bird County winner for 24 of the last 26 years, and we're disputing the 2 years we didn't win. So let me recognize best kayaking in the country, yes. Representative Springer. good old boy from West Texas can figure that out. I want to recognize our guest on the dais, Al Capristo, Robert DeHoyas, and Mike Mickey are here on Matagorda County Committee. But today is Matagorda County Day. Mr. Speaker, I encourage all members to join us at 6 in the evening in the back hall, and I move passage.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Price moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Ms. Rose for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to acknowledge a good friend and my sorority sister. We actually attended Powell Queen College together and pledged the best sorority in this country or in the nation together, and that's Miss Jennifer Jones. Hey, stand up, Sarah. All right. And also we have some members from the Bay City Alumni Chapter here as well. If you could stand. Thank you. Oh, all right. At this time, we would like to, okay. We have the president, Ms. Gail Blackman, if you could stand. Muriel Buckner. Again, my line sister, Jennifer Jones. And Ms. Mary Helen Nelson. All right, thank you all for being with us today. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, for being so on it. I didn't know you were going to do that. I didn't think it.
All right. I now have...
Chair recognizes Speaker Bonin for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 380. This is a big one.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 380. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 380 by Bonin of Brazoria, congratulating ranchers Scott and Pam Evans of Bay City on their Guinness World Record Longhorn steer, Sato.
Chair recognizes Speaker Bonin.
Members, if you ever find yourself in a rare circumstance where you're trying to prove everything is bigger in Texas, I'm bringing you today the simplest explanation you can draw on, and that is the Guinness Book of World Records longest longhorn. So Scott and Pam Evans have been raising cattle on their ranch in Bay City for over 25 years and have had the pleasure of raising Sato. No, this is not a University of Texas longhorn. This is a Bay City Black Cat longhorn. Y'all are confused. But the Guinness Book of World Records, they have the longest horns on a steer ever. 126.375 inches, or just over 10 and a half feet. But Sato is only 9 years old and has won 8 world championships, and his horns will continue to grow. So any of you, and I have the privilege, this will be hanging in my office. The Evans brought me this beautiful picture. So congratulations to Scott and Pam. And Sato is living the embodiment of one of our great iconic symbols here in Texas. And yes, things are bigger in Texas. I move passage.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Springer moves to add all members' names. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guerin for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 413.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, so ordered. Go get it. Chair lays out House Resolution 413.
H.R. 413 by Guerin, granting permission for the body of former Speaker James A. Turman to lie in honor in the Hall of the House of Representatives on February 22nd, 2019.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guerin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move passage.
Members, this is a record vote. Clerk will please ring the bell. Take time to vote from your desk. Have all voted? Have all voted? There being 141 ayes, no nays, House Resolution 413 is finally adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Rainey for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, please welcome our visitors from South Korea. Today we are here representing the Korean ROTC Cadet Leadership Program at Texas A&M University. 47 cadets from all over the country of South Korea and representing multiple universities. They are attending Texas A&M for the entire month of February as part of an international diversity program organized by Texas A&M Corps of Cadets. Would you gentlemen please rise so we can recognize you?
Chair recognizes Mr. Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up House Resolution 350.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair lays out House Resolution 350. The clerk will please read the resolution.
H.R. 350 by Moody, recognizing February 18th to 20th, 2019 as El Paso Days at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Moody.
Move adoption.
Members, the question occurs on the passage of House Resolution 350. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I'm extremely proud to be standing with the entire El Paso House delegation. We added Mr. Fierro. He came after Ms. Minhades and Ms. Israel, who are native El Pasoans but represent Travis County and Bexar County respectively, but we'll take them. El Paso is slowly creeping into every area of the state to have representation. So we're going to head out to Houston soon, Mr. Murphy. I'm proud to bring this resolution to honor our guests on the dais and highlight what exactly makes our city the binational success story it is today. First, the El Paso region is the world's largest international border metropolis, handling over $90 billion in commerce with Mexico. Your Samsung phone, your iPad, the avocados you eat, the roses you gave to your significant other last week, all came through a border port of entry. In relation to our border, and not in spite of it, El Paso remains one of the second safest cities in the United States with a population of over 500,000. Our prestige for safety and community recently designated El Paso as an all-America city. We are home to both the University of Texas at El Paso and the Texas Tech Paul L. Foster School of Medicine, as well as the El Paso Community College. We're also the home to Fort Bliss, one of the largest military installations in the world, home of the 1st Armored Division, America's Tank Division, which contributes billions to the Texas economy. But we're more than just stats and fancy figures. We're a diverse and vibrant community of immigrants, hard workers, tight families, and eclectic cultures. With that, I want to welcome the guests that we have with us on the dais. We have is the mayor? The mayor jump? Where's he at? He's over there. The mayor is Mayor Margot. He's working on our legislation. I want to welcome back to the Texas House Mayor Dee Margot. Also on the dais is my county commissioner and proud Vietnam veteran, Carl Robinson. The chairman of the El Paso Chamber, Carlos Keating. Our city manager in El Paso, Tommy Gonzalez. And our executive member from the El Paso Chamber, Yolanda Giner. I also see some El Pasoans in the gallery today. Specifically, I see a very special El Pasoan. Chico, can you?
Your wife, also your wife.
Chico, while I know you're very important, the most important El Paso constituent is also sitting there with you, my wife, Adrian. No, we're very proud to have El Pasoans running around the Capitol today, advocating for our community. So thank you all so much, and welcome to your Texas House.
Chair recognizes Ms. Ortega for recognition.
Mr. Speaker, we have some other special guests from El Paso who reside in my district in the gallery today. Dottie Carter, the mother of our parliamentarian, Sharon Carter, and her friends. If you all could stand up, Mary Wiseman and Linda Savage. Are you all up there? I can't see you, but, oh. Welcome.
Chair recognizes Representative Israel for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I just saw one of my constituents, Ronnie Steitvent, come in with a bunch of Girl Scouts Troop 218 from House District 50. Please help me welcome Girl Scouts of America, Ronnie Steitvent, Girl Scouts Troop 218.
Chair recognizes Ms. Swanson for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'd like to recognize two very special constituents up here in the gallery, and Pastor Stephen and Nikki Bratton. They are leaders of their group at their church called Teen Pact, which gets students, young people involved in learning about politics and civics, and they are here with their kids who are going to the Teen Pact convention. I'd like to have them stand. Please stand in the gallery. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Chair recognizes Mr. Anderson for motion.
Mr. Speaker, yes, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 304.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 304. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 304 by Anderson, recognizing February 19, 2019 as Small and Rural Incumbent Local Exchange Carriers Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're blessed today to have telecommunications professionals representing small rural providers who are gathered in Austin today, and I had the privilege of addressing them this morning. Whereas nearly 85% of Texas is considered rural, encompassing 142 million acres and 172 counties, these are home to more than 3.2 million people. These folks help provide necessary telecommunications to our folks in rural Texas, and today is the Small and Rural Incumbent Local Exchange Carriers Day, and we welcome these folks from the Texas Statewide Telephone Corporation and Texas Telephone Association to your capital. Thank you. Mr. Members, help me welcome these folks. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption.
Members, questions on the adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted.
Don't turn the microphone off.
Chair recognizes Ms. Howard for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 153.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 153. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 153 by Howard, recognizing February 19, 2019 as Nurse Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Ms. Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I am joined by some of my colleagues here. Representative Stephanie Click and myself are very honored to be a part of the most trusted profession year after year of nurses. And I am joined by thank y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Some of my other colleagues, physicians with whom we partner to provide health care here in Texas. Anybody else who would like to come up here and support a nurse, you're welcome to join us as well. Nurses provide valuable service to all of us. We all can thank a nurse for what they've done to take care of us and our families. They're not saying all to us, I guess. Anyway, we have some people on the dais that I would like to introduce to you today. Jeff Watson, who's the president of the Texas Nurses Association. If you could raise your hand. Tammy Eads, Vice President of the Texas Nurses Association. Cindy Zolnarek, CEO of the Texas Nurses Association. And Stan Harmon, Government Affairs Committee Chair of the Texas Nurses Association. And as you can tell from the applause, we have a lot of nurses in the gallery who have come to their capital today for Texas Nurses Day at the Capitol. And I just want to mention that here in the state of Texas, we have 320,017 registered nurses and 105,974 licensed vocational nurses who are caring for Texans. But we still have a shortage. we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that we have good health care coverage throughout our state with nurses and with our physicians and other colleagues who are providing health care in Texas. But we are so glad to have you nurses here today. We ask you to stand up and let us welcome you to the state capitol. Thank you for what you do, and I move adoption.
Members, of questions on adoption? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Members, Representative Click moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Murr for a recognition.
Mr. Speaker, members, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Bandera High School FFA chapter, and if they would please stand up with their teacher, Ms. Pekowski, we would all welcome you to the Texas House of Representatives. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Wally for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules along with Chairman Bonin to take up consider H.R. 188 to recognize today as the Texas Occupational Therapists Association Day at the State Capitol.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 188. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 188 by Wale, recognizing February 19, 2019 as Texas Occupational Therapy Association Day at the Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Wally.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'm here with Chairman Bonin. We have the luxury of having our spouses be occupational therapists, and I'm going to allow Dr. Bonin to say a few words, but I just wanted to say some background. We have over 200 occupational therapists, OT assistants, and OT students who are visiting us today from all over the state, and I'd like to recognize a group of occupational therapists here that are in the gallery. If you got to stand, please, and be recognized. Obviously, my wife is not here. She's back home at the hospital at Encompass Health, but I'd like to recognize also Dr. Bonin to say a few words. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Bonin of Galveston.
Well, thank you. And as we came up here, I wasn't sure how many OTs were in the gallery because I knew there was only one that I was focused on, and that's my wife, who is standing right or sitting right over here. And she's a great occupational therapist, and her training has been instrumental in helping me survive for all these years. And so I thank you for what each and every one of you do.
Thank you, members. Please give a round of applause to all the occupational therapists that are in the gallery. Give them a huge round of applause. Yeah. Move adoption.
The question is on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Price for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 347.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 347. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 347 by Price, recognizing February 18th and 19th, 2019 as Panhandle Days at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'm joined up here by Representative King, Representative Holland, Representative Springer, Representative Smithy. We represent and have relationships in the Texas Panhandle. We're proud to recognize today as Panhandle Days at the State Capitol. Our region is built on the resilience and grit of pioneering cattlemen and farmers and now continues to thrive due to growing oil and gas, renewable energy, cattle and hog raising, dairy and business industries. It's an area of growing innovation that stems from the premier higher education institutions, healthcare systems, and manufacturing businesses in our region. From the top of the lighthouse in Paladura Canyon to the grasslands of the Llano Estacado, we're proud to call this region our home. And as you can tell in Austin today, we left the gate open when we left. It's a little cold here today. We welcome everyone who's traveled 500 plus miles to get to their state capital to celebrate Panhandle Days. Behind me on the dais, please welcome Chamber President Gary Mulberg. We've got City Manager of Amarillo, Jared Miller. The Mayor of Amarillo, Ginger Nelson. Michelle Reichert with Pantex. And Brandy Price with Atmos Energy. I would also like to recognize the other Panhandle Days representatives with us today in the gallery. Some are standing or sitting right up on this east side, and some are with us over here as well. If you all will please stand, we want to thank you and recognize you for traveling the 500 plus miles and coming to your state capitol to recognize Panhandle Days. Thank you all very much. Mr. Speaker, I move passage.
Question is on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Mr. Smithy moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Busey for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, today in the north side of the gallery, we have two of my constituents, Megan and Ricky, who are both Special Olympic athletes. If they'll stand up for me. They're right here. Megan has been an active athlete for 25 years and began participating in the Special Olympics of Texas at age 8. She participates in unified bowling, tennis, flag football, and softball. Megan has attended many Special Olympic state games as well as attending national games twice, where she won several gold, silver, and bronze medals. She's a graduate of McNeil High School, fan of Longhorn football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and she loves animals. Ricky has been an athlete in the Special Olympics of Texas for 29 years. His favorite sports include bowling doubles, flag football, and softball. Ricky recently won a gold medal at the state level bowling competition. He's also a graduate of McNeil High School, fan of the San Antonio Spurs and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he is a longtime employee of HEB. Megan and Ricky are both global messengers for Special Olympics of Texas and active members of the Athlete Leadership Program. Members, please help me welcome Megan and Ricky to their Texas house.
Chair recognizes Mr. Holland for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider H.R. 290, which recognizes February 19th as Leadership 22 Frisco Day at the State Capitol.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out House Resolution 290. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 290 by Holland, recognizing February 19th, 2019 as Leadership Frisco Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Holland.
Mr. Speaker and members, I'd like to recognize Leadership Frisco. They're up in the gallery here in the south side. Behind me on the dais, we have the Class 22 liaison, Barbara Bible and Julie Hernandez, as well as other members in the gallery of the class. My chief of staff, Bob Paulson, says that this is the most legendary leadership class in the history of Leadership Frisco. Is that right, guys? Leadership Frisco is a program held by the Frisco Chamber of Commerce, and the class provides highly motivated individuals with the tools to expand their leadership roles and involvement within the community. The members who complete the program graduate with more comprehensive understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing their fellow residents and with a renewed dedication to civic engagement. This year, the Frisco Leadership Class project is to inspire the love of reading for the youngest members of our community and to spark their creativity. They decided to create a number of free libraries and install them in neighborhoods throughout Frisco. Members, please join me in welcoming Leadership Frisco Class 22 to their state capitol. Move adoption.
Members, the question is on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Holland for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider H.R. 388, which recognizes February 19th as STEM Gals Day at the Capitol.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 388. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 388 by Holland, recognizing February 19th, 2019 as STEM Gals Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Holland.
Mr. Speaker and members, I would like to recognize now the Rockwall High School robotics team, which is in the gallery up behind me here. We are very proud of our Rockwall High School robotics team for creating STEM Gals, an off-season robotics event to support women in fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The event is geared to encourage young women to pursue STEM careers and allows them to explore a range of opportunities throughout the fields. By 2022, we will be 1 million STEM workers short, and the Rockwall Robotics team and STEM gals are working to fill that gap. And we are very proud of their efforts and truly believe that they are making steps to change the world. Members, please join me in welcoming the Rockwall High School robotics team to their Texas Capitol. I move adoption.
Question occurs on the adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Ms. Morrison for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today is Future Farmers of America Day at the Capitol. Chairman Kemple and I want to recognize them. I have two groups here from Victoria West High School FFA. They're visiting today. And with them, there are 9 students. And the sponsors, Eric Runger and Pat Muller, and Victoria East High School FFA is also visiting today with their team and 8 students. The sponsors are Angela Van Gundy and Charlie Holloway. And also, I want to recognize a very special person. Kagan Miggle is here today. She is Victoria East president, and it is her 18th birthday today. So would all of you please stand to be recognized today?
Chair recognizes Mr. King of Parker for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, members, I move to suspend all necessary rules and to take up and consider House Resolution 317, recognizing and celebrating Wise County Day at the State Capitol.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So the rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 317. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 317 by King of Parker, recognizing February 19, 2019 as Wise County Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. King of Parker.
Mr. Speaker, members, today we have with us our delegation from Wise County. They're standing right up here. Wise County, would you please stand for us? And members, would you please give them a warm welcome? I want to say thank you to the Decatur and Bridgeport Chamber for organizing a great legislative day and a really warm reception last night. We have many local officials here with us today, including County Judge J.D. Clark, Commissioner Kevin Burns, County Clerk Sherry Lemon, District Clerk Brenda Rowe, Tax Assessor Collector Monty Shaw, Treasurer Catherine Hudson, JP's Jan Morrow, Mandy Hayes, and Kim Redmond, Eric Marney, who is our new GOP chair, and from the Bridgeport City Council, we have Kevin Lopez and Scott Hiller. I want to welcome y'all today, and with that, I would move adoption.
Members, the question is on the adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted.
319.
Members, the following resolution will be a memorial resolution. So please take your seats, take your conversations outside the rail. Chair recognizes Mr. King of Parker.
Mr. Speaker, members, I would move to suspend all necessary rules and take up and consider H.R. 319, a memorial resolution for D.A. Sharp.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 319. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 319 by King of Parker, in memory of Dwight Albert Sharp of Aurora.
Chair recognizes Mr. King of Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, every county has its special people. A couple of years ago when Wise County was here, we were talking about Betty Parker's husband, who had passed away recently, and what a great loss that was to our county. And this year, we wanted to, while they were here, is just talk about D.A. Sharp. His wife, Suzanne, and his daughter, Tiffany, are with us in the gallery today. D.A. had been the Republican County Chair for a number of years in Parker County. And as Drew Springer will tell you, he was just one of those guys that was just magnanimous. It didn't matter if you were Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. It made no difference. He was your friend, and everybody loved him. And he was just one of those leaders that was able to bring everybody together. And so, Suzanne and Tiffany, we just wanted to take a minute to just say that we love you, and we certainly loved your husband and father. And he was a hero to Wise County and a mentor to me and a mentor and friend to Drew Springer as well. And so with that, we just want to thank you for allowing him to serve for so long in so many ways. And with that, members, I would just move adoption.
Question is on adoption of the resolution. This is a memorial resolution. All those in favor, please rise. The resolution is unanimously adopted. Mr. Springer moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Paul for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider H.R. 361.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 361. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 361 by Paul, recognizing February 19, 2019 as University of Houston Clear Lake Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Paul.
Members, Representative Thompson and I wanted to make sure and recognize today is University of Houston Clear Lake Day at the Capitol. U of H Clear Lake began classes in 1974 with just over 1,000 students and 60 faculty. Today, the university enrolls more than 9,000 students annually, and with its 68,000 alumni, including 10 astronauts, U of H Clear Lake has become a very important part of the Clear Lake community and surrounding areas. Members, please join me in welcoming U of H Clear Lake President, Dr. Ira Blake, and the students and faculty joining us here today in the gallery. Thank y'all very much. Move adoption.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Mr. Thompson moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Guerra for a motion.
Mr. Speaker and members, I move to suspend all necessary rules and take up and consider House Resolution 143, welcoming the Queen family to the Texas Capitol.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 143. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 143 by Guerra, honoring Dr. Charles Richard Queen for his achievements as a veteran, physician, and civic leader in Edinburgh.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I would like to take a moment to recognize Dr. Charles Richard Queen as we recognize his many achievements here today. On his military service, quite amazing. Colonel Queen, as a young pilot, flew combat missions for the 23rd Squadron during the Battle of the Bulge. He happened to be flying P-47s. And I remember him telling me that story because he said his airplane was the only airplane at that time that had air conditioning in the plane. He re-enlisted as a flight surgeon after the war was over, was chief medical officer during the Tenerife airport tragedy. On his personal life, he married the love of his life, Tina Queen, who is from the Rio Grande Valley and from Edinburgh, where I grew up. They built a home across the street from where I grew up. Even though I spent a lot of time on our family ranch, I was also in town quite a bit, and he was our family doctor. I specifically remember one day when I was playing in his mesquite tree in front of his house, I fell out of the tree and I broke my arm. I turned to Dr. Queen and I said, "Dr. Queen, I've broken my arm." And he said, "No, you're okay." I turned to him and I put my hand out in front of him and it just flopped over. He goes, "I'm taking you to the clinic right now." And he fixed my arm that day. I won't ever forget, he was a great man. He loved his country, state, and his family. He was my Boy Scout troop leader, Troop 73. He was instrumental during Hurricane Beulah. He was the director of disaster medical services during Hurricane Beulah in 1967. He has served the Rio Grande Valley through his entire career and the state of Texas. As far as his medical career is concerned, he was 40 years as a physician in Edinburgh, Texas. After serving in the military, he was chief of staff of Edinburgh General Hospital, chair of the Texas Medical Association, and Academy of Family Practice. He is a husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. Joining us today on the dais are Dr. Queen's children, Kay Queen, Mero Queen, and Richard Queen. Dr. Queen could not be with us today due to health concerns. However, his family has traveled from across the United States to come down and see their father be recognized here on the floor. If anyone in the gallery is here for Dr. Queen, please stand and be recognized. God bless you. God bless all of you, and welcome to your Texas house. Members, please join me in giving them a big welcome to their state capital. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I move adoption.
Question occurs on the adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Reynolds for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I want to recognize some folks who traveled from Houston today. Kim Lanier and Nicole Taylor. They're here for crime survivors for safety and justice. They're here to advocate for the silent victims of domestic violence, human trafficking, sexual assault, gun violence, and more. They're here to bring awareness to these heinous crimes that are often committed, and the victims often don't receive justice. So they're here today to speak truth to power and to lend their voices to stop the violence. So members, please join me and welcome them to their Texas House. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Patty for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to suspend all necessary rules, take up and consider House Resolution 401.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 401. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 401 by Patty, congratulating Glenn Hambrick on his retirement as Superintendent of Carthage ISD.
Chair recognizes Mr. Patty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, we're going to have 4 different resolutions here, including one on being Panola County today. But House Resolution 401 is recognizing Dr. Glenn Hambrick, who has recently retired as Superintendent of Carthage ISD. He served the students there in Carthage for 11 years at my alma mater and affected countless lives in the decades of service and dedicated his life to educating children. And so we want to honor him today, and I move passage.
Questions on adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Patty for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to suspend all necessary rules, take up and consider House Resolution 402.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 402. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 402 by Patty, congratulating former Carthage High School baseball coach Scott Lee on his induction into the Texas High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame.
Chair recognizes Mr. Patty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this resolution is to honor former high school baseball coach Scott Lee at Carthage. Besides being a perennial powerhouse and frequent winner of 4A state football championships in Carthage, we also have a great program, and Scott Lee was part of that legacy. And he was recently inducted into the Texas High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame, and we wanted to honor him today. I move passage.
Question is on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Patty for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to suspend all necessary rules, take up and consider House Resolution 403.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 403. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 403 by Patty, congratulating the Beckville High School baseball team for winning the 2018 UIL 3A state championship.
Chair recognizes Mr. Patty.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, another great school in Panola County. We want to congratulate the Beckville High School baseball team for winning the 2018 3A state championship. Beckville is a great community there in Panola County, and we want to honor those young men today on their great accomplishment. And with that, I move passage.
Questions on adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Patty for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to suspend all necessary rules, take up and consider House Resolution 400.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 400. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 400 by Patty. We're recognizing February 19th, 2019 as Panola County Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Patty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today is Panola County Day, the county that I grew up in particular Carthage, Texas. We got a lot of members here today of that community, and we want to welcome them to their Texas house. I want to recognize some folks that I have on the dais behind me, and we'll just have them wave in no particular order here. We've got Steve Williams, who's the city manager of Carthage. We thank Steve for his leadership. Dr. Greg Powell, longtime president of Panola College, is also with us today. We have Lynn Jofferon, who's the mayor pro tem for the city of Carthage. We also have Jerry Hansen, who is a city commissioner there in Carthage as well. And his probably most honorable distinction, he's also my father-in-law. And so we're glad to have him here today as well. And then also we have John Wink. We just recognized Dr. Glenn Hambrick for his service as he retired at Carthage ISD. We're so proud that John Wink is the new superintendent of Carthage ISD. We look forward to his tremendous leadership of that great community and particularly that great school that I'm proud to be a graduate of. And so if you would, members, we're going to help recognize them, but also we've got a lot of folks in the gallery as well. And if you're a part of the delegation for Panola County Day, would you please stand? Got a good group over here. Members, please help me welcome these folks here on Panola County Day. As a native of Carthage, as I mentioned, it's always a proud day when you have folks come to town, many of them that have known you all your life and could tell a few things on you. So we're glad to have them here today and welcome them to their Texas house. With that, Mr. Speaker, I move passage.
Question on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Ashby moves to add all members' names. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Patterson for a recognition.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today for recognition. I've got some special guests in the gallery today. My father, Jerry Patterson, could not be here, but my mother, a retired teacher of 38 years in Whitesboro ISD, is here. My grandparents, Bill and Ernestine Stoffel, are here, and my uncle, Kevin Stoffel, who is a constable with the Williamson County office. I want to thank them for coming to their Texas house today. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Springer for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today, tomorrow, and Thursday in the Reagan Building is the folks from Montague County that can do boots for you with your name on it and seal. Tomorrow at from 1 to 5, they're going to have a members only, so there won't be any staff lines and that. We're going to have food and refreshments. So go see them.
Hey. Chair recognizes Mr. Clardy for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'd like to remind all of you that tonight, 5:30 to 7:30 at the Omni Hotel will be the reception for Nacogdoches SFA Days, one of the best attended events. A lot of hospitality, beverages, food, fun for all. Bring your friends, bring your relatives, bring your colleagues. We'll see you tonight at the Omni, 5:30 to 7:30, Nacogdoches SFA Days. Axum, thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Lozano for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 79.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 79. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 79 by Lozano, recognizing February 19th, 2019 as Jim Wells County Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Lozano.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. It's such an honor to be here with you today. Again, back around the second, I think it's the 5th year now that we're doing Jim Wells County Day at the Capitol. Members, as you all know, Jim Wells County, the county seat, Alice, Texas, is known all around the world for many, many things, including the oil and gas industry for which it was built on long ago, cattle ranching in the region, which began through the railroad construction in the 1870s. But many of y'all may simply remember it from when you studied Texas history and learned about Box 13. Box 13, which Richard Raymond really has in his office, as far as we know. But members, I do want to recognize the folks up here on the dais with us today. We have our Jim Wells County Judge, Juan Rodriguez. Jim Wells County Attorney, Michael Guerra. Our Alice ISD Superintendent, Dr. Carl Scarborough. Our Alice Councilwoman, Cynthia Carrasco. Alice Ambassador Immediate Past President, Nena Castillo Pitts. And our Alice Chamber of Commerce Membership VP, Sandra Bowen. And in addition, members, if we have the folks from Jim Wells County in the gallery, please stand up and be recognized. We have Juan Navejar, Didi Arizmendez, who is on the Department of Family and Protective Services, appointed by the governor. For her husband, Freddie Arizmendez. I believe Jim Wells County Commissioner Huicho Gonzalez, Carl Pitts. And we also have Patrick King. Is Patrick up there? Patrick King is with AEP, American Electric Power, and I want to recognize AEP at this moment for their tremendous response following Hurricane Harvey, where AEP moved and mobilized thousands of pieces of equipment, thousands of personnel, and within hours, they were on the scene with trucks lined up, bucket trucks lined up for miles, ready to respond and to restore power to our devastated region. Members, please welcome Jim Wells County to your Texas House.
Chair recognizes Mr. Raymond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I want to thank Chairman Lozano for bringing forth this resolution recognizing Jim Wells County, the county I was born in, Alice, Texas. And just the other day, members, just the other day on this floor of the House, we had a Nobel Prize winner born and raised in Jim Wells County, Jim Allison, who was right here. Many of you came up and said hello to him, thanked him. And so we want to thank all the folks from Jim Wells County who are here. And thank you, Chairman Lozano, for bringing forth this resolution recognizing one of the greatest counties in the state of Texas. Go Jim Wells County, go Alice, go Coyotes.
Chair recognizes Mr. Lozano.
Move passage.
Questions on adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Mr. Raymond moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Landgraf for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are going to have a resolution a little bit later in the day, but we have some members from the Feeding Texas Network that I would like to recognize, and they're here in the gallery. Would y'all please stand? Since 1986, the Feeding Texas Network of 21 food banks have worked with more than 3,000 community agencies to reduce hunger in every Texas county. In response to Hurricane Harvey, Texas food banks delivered 61 million pounds of food to victims, served 73,000 meals, and mobilized 26,000 volunteers. I believe that, as we know, there are some of those members with us in the gallery, and in honor of their important work, I'd like to recognize, and we'll do this via resolution, but we'd like to recognize February 19th, 2019 as Texas Food Bank Day here at the state capitol. Welcome to your capital, and thanks for all the good work that you do.
Chair recognizes Ms. Minhades for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd also love to recognize the San Antonio Food Bank, who's also a member. They reside in House District 124, and thank them for all the wonderful work they do for the state of Texas.
Chair recognizes Ms. Gervin Hawkins for recognition.
Members, as we think of the food bank, we think of an entity that is necessary, particularly in times of disaster, but also in times when sometimes we take food for granted. There are those out there that are suffering. So today, as we think of the food bank, we want to think about one of those important services that serves our community. So as we honor the food bank, don't forget to continue to donate. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Landgraf for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 393.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 393. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 393 by Landgraf, recognizing February 19th, 2019 as Texas Food Bank Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've already laid out the pertinent details, and with that, I move adoption.
Questions on adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Ms. Minhadez moves to add all members' names. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Sheffield for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move we suspend all necessary House rules to take up House Resolution 375.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 375. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 375 by Sheffield, recognizing February 19, 2019 as Tarleton State University Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Sheffield.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, today is Tarleton at the State Capitol Day. Tarleton, a founding member of Texas A&M system, 13,000 students, 100 bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Located in Stephenville, Texas, the cowboy capital of the world, home to Tarleton State University. On the dais, raise your hands when I call your name. Dr. Dominic DeTavio, president of Tarleton State University. Senior student Art Hernandez. And Stephenville Mayor Doug Sveen. And we also have members of Stephenville City Council up in the gallery with us. Members, let's have a round of applause and thanks to Tarleton Day at the Capitol in Stephenville. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption.
Questions on adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Mr. Anderson moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Kemple for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I'd like to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 253.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 253. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 253 by Kemple, recognizing February 19, 2019 as Texas Game Warden Day at the State Capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Kemple.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my honor today to recognize our Texas Game Wardens in this year's Game Warden Peace Officer Association Conference. The Game Wardens were created by the 24th Legislature as a Fish and Oyster Commission and have been protecting our state's natural resources ever since. In the gallery today, I believe up here in the Southwest Gallery, we have Quint Balcom, the Game Warden Association President. Please stand. Margaret Martin, former Parks and Wildlife Commissioner, and Colonel Graham Jones, the Texas Game Warden. And members, if you haven't already, I highly encourage you to get to know your local game wardens for the services and protection they provide to keep our district safe. In time permitting and weather permitting, please help me welcome them to the House, and remember that they have a fish fry on the south lawn that started at 11:30. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you, and I move passage.
Questions on adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Mr. Patty moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Raymond for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I want you to help me recognize and welcome a class of students, 7th grade students from Laredo, Texas, who are joining us today in the East Gallery. They are future leaders from Laredo, Texas, from United Day School. I know many of their parents, and I hope all of their parents voted for me during the last election. They didn't. I want you to go home and tell them that I did a great job here today, and they should vote for me next time. Members, let's welcome these 7th graders from Laredo, Texas, East Gallery. Please stand up. Stand up, all the students. Members, let's welcome these 7th graders. Thank you for coming.
Chair recognizes Mr. Reynolds for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 105 commemorating the 46th anniversary of Mickey Leland being sworn in as a member of the Texas House of Representatives.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 105. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 105 by Reynolds, commemorating the 46th anniversary of Mickey Leland being sworn in as a member of the Texas House of Representatives.
Chair recognizes Mr. Reynolds.
Congressman Leland was only 28 when he won his election to the Texas House of Representatives from District 88, then located in Harris County. He quickly gained recognition as a champion for health care for the poor, and he helped secure passage of legislation giving those in need access to affordable generic drugs. A member of numerous committees, he became the first African American to serve on numerous committees. He became the first African American to serve on the Senate House Conference Committee as a member of the House Appropriations Committee, and he was vice chair of the Joint Committee on Prisons Reform. Mickey Leland is often quoted saying, I am as much a citizen of this world as I am of my country. He was a visionary who saw the world as it was while advancing an ideal of what it could be. Through every adversity, he held on to his dream of a better world. He saw what others could not see and believed in possibilities that stretched our imagination. He demanded things that seemed impossible at the time, but he put them within reach. He called on us to be better, to do better, access affordable health care, to food, and relief from poverty were the core of his legislative work and global activism. In 1978, following 3 terms in the Texas legislature, Congressman Leland was elected to the United States House of Representatives. He founded the House Select Committee on Hunger and helped establish the National Commission on AIDS. In addition, he secured passage of bills providing fresh produce to low-income families and medical clinics for food to the homeless. He also served as chair of the Black Caucus and won praise from the State Department for his successful efforts in arranging the release of 4 Americans in prison in Cuba. Tragically, he lost his life in a plane crash in 1989 while leading a relief mission to a refugee camp in Ethiopia. His contributions have since continued to resonate over the years. Here on the dais, we have the Honorable Carole G. Robinson, the director of the Mickey Leland Center on World Hunger and Peace, Dr. Theo Harrington, Dean of the Barbara Jordan Mickey Leland School of Public Affairs at Texas Southern University. And I gotta give him a little plug. He was my dean when I was an undergraduate. We have 2 T-lippers on the dais, Braylon Gage and Kelly Peterson. Former Senator and current Commissioner Rodney Ellis served as Chief of Staff for Congressman Mickey Leland. He was the inspiration behind the Texas Legislative Internship Program in 1990 because Mickey Leland stressed the importance of using one's individual success to provide opportunities for others. TLIP has provided more than 700 students valuable experience in the Texas legislature, including the offices of the governor, the lieutenant governor, the speaker, and the Supreme Court. We have some TLIPers here in attendance today in the gallery, and also Senator Ellis, Commissioner Ellis, has his son Leland, who he named after Mickey Leland, who's serving in the Speaker's office. Mr. Speaker, with that, I move adoption.
Question is on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted.
Let's give all of those in attendance today a round of applause for commemorating the life and legacy of the late, great Congressman Mickey Leland. Thank you very much.
Ms. Collier moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Bohack for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move that the House grant permission for county affairs to meet while the House is in session during bill referral today pursuant to its committee posting.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. The permission is granted, sir. Chair recognizes Mr. Bohack for a motion.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to permit county affairs to meet during bill referral pursuant to its committee posting.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Permission is granted. Chair recognizes Ms. Davis of Harris for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move that the House grant permission for all other committees and subcommittees to meet while the House is in session during bill referral today pursuant to their committee postings.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Permission is granted. Chair recognizes Mr. Sanford for an announcement.
15 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is a reminder about the Texas Prayer Breakfast Thursday morning. Your office has received invitations. If you haven't already, please RSVP, and you also make note that your staff is also invited. Texas Prayer Breakfast, Thursday morning. Reception starts at 7 o'clock at the Austin Hilton. Program will begin at 7:30. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Ms. Morrison for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I want all of you to listen about an announcement for a meeting Thursday, February 21st in the Ag Museum. We're going to invite all members to join us for a meeting to discuss the Hurricane Harvey legislation on disaster response and disaster preparedness. This is not a meeting on funding or money. This is the policy side. We want to ensure that the House is actively working together so that many of the critical policy recommendations from the Governor's Commission to Rebuild Texas address this session. We have to streamline and improve our approach to disaster response and recovery statewide, and most importantly, to reduce red tape. So this is for everyone. This is not just for people that are dealing with Hurricane Harvey recovery. All members are welcome, both from the coast and those that are not, because disasters happen all around our state, from wildfires to flooding. Many members have already filed legislation which align with some of these policy recommendations, and we thank you for your efforts, but we want to collaborate as a body to make sure nothing falls through the cracks, and as we work to better prepare Texas for the next disaster. So it's Thursday, February 21st, up on adjournment in the Ag Museum. And Dade and I are going to be working on these issues together. Dade, do you have something you'd like to say?
Just please.
Chair recognizes Mr. Phelan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please attend if you can. Again, this is not a Harvey meeting. So much of these recommendations, 44 recommendations came from the report, and they cover the entire state of Texas. And so if you've had a disaster, or even if you're luckily and fortunate not to have a disaster, I think it's imperative that we have statewide input on these 44 measures. Some will be more of an omnibus approach where there may be 4 or 5 ideas wrapped into one. If you're interested in that, I really urge you and your staff to be at this meeting on Thursday. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Ms. Mesa for a motion.
Mr. Speaker and members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 416, which honors the 90th anniversary of LULAC.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 416. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 416 by Mesa, commemorating the 90th anniversary of LULAC.
Chair recognizes Ms. Mesa.
Thank you. I'd like to take a moment to recognize leaders of the League of United Latin American Citizens, or LULAC, on this, the 90th anniversary of the organization. LULAC was created to serve as a voice for Latino American citizens. It was in a time of great division, but hope for Latino Americans, hope that our community would benefit fully from the legal and societal aspects of the American dream. Since then, LULAC has served to champion issues facing Latino Americans, representing their needs in a courthouse, on the streets, or at the various capitals across the nation. And I'm proud to say I've been a member of this proud organization for over 40 years. So before I had the title of state rep, I had the title of LULACer. It's my honor to celebrate this milestone with LULAC leaders from across the state that are here on the dais. We have with us Genaro Chavez, who's our state treasurer, and Frank Ortega, who's our District 7 director. Mr. Speaker, it's my honor to move adoption.
Questions on adoption of the resolution? Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Mr. Blanco moves that all names be added to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Guerin for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Members, the panoramic photo is 1 week from tomorrow, the 27th. You need to be here and in your seats by 9:30 a.m. 1 week from tomorrow, please. February 27th. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, we have two more quick resolutions, and then the Speaker's desk will be clear. Chair recognizes Mr. Landgraf for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 476, honoring the dedication and open house for the Dan Saunders Law Enforcement Center in Stanton on February 25th, 2019.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 476. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 476 by Craddock, commemorating the dedication of the Don Saunders Law Enforcement Center in Stanton.
Chair recognizes Mr. Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption.
Question on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Mr. Shine moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Shine for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up House Resolution 297, commending Chief Coleman Benner of 65 years of service with the Holland Volunteer Fire Department.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out H.R. 297. Clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 297 by Shine, commending Chief Coleman Benner on his 65 years of service with the Holland Volunteer Fire Department.
Chair recognizes Mr. Shine.
Mr. Speaker, move adoption.
Questions on adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Members, the Speaker's desk is clear. If you have any announcements, bring them down front. If there are no other announcements, Mr. Guerin moves that the House stand adjourned pending the reading and referral of bills until 10 a.m. Wednesday. Is there objection? Chair hears none. House stands adjourned.